Welcome to the Creatively Geeky Show. I'm your host for the evening, Eugene Stevens. Tonight I'm joined by my good friends. Instead of the usual cast, I'm just going to start saying my good friends because that's who y'all are. Chris and Ray, how are y'all doing?
Fine. Our dog's being a jerk right now, but yeah, good.
Oh, tell me about dogs being jerks. Like, Max literally turned 11 today, and for whatever reason has decided that he just wants to go to the bathroom in the house. And I'm just like, nope, that's not a thing. We're not doing this. So it's like, happy birthday, I'm about to beat you to death. So, well, let's go ahead and move on to our go ahead and get started with the show and talk about updates for what we've been working on. Ray, do you want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
I'll go first.
All right.
Because
as always, so you had three different things on your list. Actually, you had two different things, and I kind of tacked one back on there. The first one's you were going to be working on the bathroom. Uh-huh. You were going to work on you're going to get the fairy door created. And I'm asking about the picture box for Chris's pictures again.
Okay. So the picture box is out. However, I came up with some good ideas for Chris's pictures.
Okay.
And we went out on a little tour around town, and we got some pictures done. So that was fun.
Yes.
The bathroom took a lot more than I thought because apparently I had to do a cabinet as well. Mm-hmm. And so the bathroom is about 90% done.
Yes.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
So yeah, bathroom doors swapped out. The door where it used to be is now filled in with drywall. It needs some touch-ups.
Not very well done drywall, but it's done. It's enough.
It's the filler. I need to redo it just because
I didn't have any tape.
Didn't have any tape, and I didn't have time to sand it all down properly and get everything else done. So somebody painted and.
There's going to be crap hung over top of it. I really don't care.
She doesn't care. Bug the shit out of me. But anyway, that's fine. At someday when Chris is away for like a weekend, I may just move stuff and resand it and repaint it. So yeah, that's all been done. New door has been hung. And then a buddy of mine was very kind and gave me a hand moving some of the wiring around, which became a bit of a pain in the ass. Mm-hmm. But we moved it, and then the floors, we were really happy. They turned out amazing. Awesome. Yeah. They're original to the house. I found out what it was. Was it spruce? It was fir. It's Douglas fir.
Okay.
So it's a hardwood, but it smells like pine. And yeah, they came out real nice. So happy with that.
Did y'all sand them down, or? Yeah. Okay. So did you just orbital hand sand this, or did you get like the big monster sander?
We also had to put stripper on them because they had been painted.
So
we paint off it.
There was about 3 different layers of paint, maybe more, and there was also some original stain and clear coat that we had to all get through.
Yeah.
So we scraped it all down as best we could. We put a stripper off of it on it and got that all done.
And then you sanded them.
And then orbital sander because we couldn't fit a big.
Oh no, it's a tiny
floor sander in that area, and I would have been terrified of hitting the toilet pipe.
Any fixture.
Right? It would have been bad. So it was all by hand.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
Like orbital sander hand.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. But anyway, it turned out great, and then a couple clear coats of new oil to seal it up, and that works real nice.
Mm-hmm.
So you just oiled it? You didn't stain it again?
No, just oiled it, and it's a really nice.
It'll amber. The oil sealer that we got ambers over time, so it'll be like a really nice amber color.
It'll go really dark at some point.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
In the future, like over time,
20 years.
It's like a natural patina effect that the oil does.
Yeah. So there's that.
Fairy door did not get done.
No, because somebody came up with an idea.
Somebody being me.
to buy a dresser, and didn't want it to be a dresser, wanted it to be a cabinet dresser, so that we had to take out the top two drawers, make it into a cabinet, and then just have the two bottom drawers, but have dividers put in the bottom two drawers. So I had to figure that one out. So that
but you did it. It looks awesome.
I'm proud of the way that it came out. I will say that. I was a little nervous. So what was amazing about what happened was I measured it all out, and the two drawer fronts actually fit together and became the shelf. So I had to sand it all down and join them together, and then so they became the shelf. And then the rest of the old drawers that I took out, I put it all together, and that became the back of where the shelf is. So it filled the old cabinet or the drawer space, so it looks at least like it's supposed to be built that way. So then now we've got a cabinet in there. It looks like an old TV cabinet almost.
Yes, almost.
You did a good job on it. That's actually what I was just looking at again because you had sent pictures.
Thanks. Yeah. So and then I was really happy that thankfully, so it is built in like we're guessing the 50s. And
no, earlier than that. It's an Art Deco. It's called
like
a waterfall dresser, so it would be anywhere between like probably the 30s or 40s. It's an Art Deco style of dresser.
So thankfully the wood that they used, like what's it called? The veneer that they used is thicker than what they use now, so it was actually able to sand it all down and properly seal it up again. And it actually, I was really happy with the way the grain turned out. So
we only spent $70 on the dresser.
That's right.
Nice.
So that was done, and then while I was in the middle of that, somebody found a mirror that they liked.
I had bought a mirror off of Wayfair, and as soon as we put it up, I hated it. There's nothing wrong with the mirror. It's just the wrong style for what I'm going for. And so I found an antique mirror on Facebook Marketplace for $55.
That didn't have a shelf.
Did not have a shelf in it, but I had a perfect spot to put a shelf in. To add a shelf.
And add a backing to it, which I happened to use from the dresser. The shelf bottom was the perfect.
Oh, nice.
Perfect width, so that I could use that as the backing of the mirror, so that I could put the shelf on and not worry about shit falling in behind it. So, yeah,
it looks awesome, and it fits perfectly with what I want.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been
very creative. The way he puzzled that all together was really impressive.
Very busy week or month.
That was last weekend, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the cabinet and the mirror.
Yeah. So this didn't get done. Hopefully I can work on that in the coming month, because we decided we're going to hold off on doing a bunch of stuff that we were looking at doing, like stairs and stuff like that. So this month I'll have more time to actually work on creative stuff that I want to work on, hopefully.
We'll see.
We'll see. Chris, you want to go next?
Sure.
All right. You had getting another blanket done, putting it on social media, the sink situation, using quotation marks here, and then stuff like to deal with Etsy.
So I started another blanket.
Okay.
I'm not even, I literally just started. I'm like 10 rows in.
Part of that was the yarn didn't show up.
That's what that was. Oh, I'm trying to remember. So I did buy a crochet pattern for a specific blanket that I want to make for the living room here, because I wanted to pull up the couch. And I bought this really funky purple yarn. It's called Grape, but the website was screwing up, and I had to call, and then it was just fine, and it showed up. So it just showed up last week in a very disheveled looking package. Thank God it's just yarn and it's not like breakable.
It was like somebody took,
the mail.
The soft mail that had like the bubble.
Yeah.
Somebody took one of those, shoved all the yarn in. It looks like a 4-year-old just taped the crap out of it, and then okay, it's done.
It's done.
But
it's just yarn. I got it on sale. It's fine, and and I got all of it, so it's fine.
Yes.
So before the show started, I had a flare up of my anxiety at the beginning of this month, so I haven't done much of anything in terms of creativity, just trying to manage my symptoms and just really focus on that in therapy and my acupuncture and stuff like that. So not much creatively has been done that way.
With the exception of taking some fun pictures of the blankets.
Yes, and that was fun. I felt a little weird doing it because there were people around, and I'm naturally a very shy person, so it felt odd to bring a kitchen chair, like one of our dining room chairs.
I'll send you some pictures so you can see.
And
okay.
Like different landscapes with people around, and like we're taking outdoor pictures of these blankets. And so I have not done anything with them as of yet. I've been procrastinating again, like usual. But anyways, I have started one blanket. I really want to start the new one the pattern that I bought for, because that's my problem is I will see something new and shiny, forget about other stuff, and then I have to do the new thing first before I can do anything else. So yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm interested to see pictures because I kind of had an idea. I was like, are they taking pictures of the blankets outside? That's actually a really cool idea. So, because the main thing you were worried about was taking the pictures and how they were going to look in different lighting. And so you wanted to make sure the color came across all right. So.
And we took them. It was closer to sunset. We probably had like an hour to work with, so it was kind of like the golden hour. And went down to the beach, and then went to a lookout spot over the water too. So we tried a couple of different locations. We also drove around, tried to find some other spots, but they just didn't work. The lighting was the good lighting had passed.
The water shots are okay. The ones in front of the tree though look fantastic.
I was laying on the grass to get those.
Yeah.
That looks fantastic.
There was a car of elderly people just because they were just enjoying the lookout.
Because it was sunsetting, right? So they were out there to watch the sunset. And there we are snapping pictures up against the tree.
Yeah, so then they drive by, and the lady in the back goes down the window, and she's like, "Excuse me," and then asks a bunch of questions. Did I make them? Yeah. Did you knit that? And I'm like, no, I crocheted it. It's different. And then she asked me again, "What's a beautiful knit blanket?" It's not knit, it's crochet. But thank you. She made them, but so that was really neat. But yeah, so I did nothing that I said I would.
It's all good. We're trying to put our best foot forward. Sometimes we make it. Sometimes we overextend. Sometimes it's like, no, not this month, Satan.
So it is okay.
Yeah,
absolutely.
This is all optional. This isn't like.
I have so many paintings and drawings in my head that I want to get done.
Mm-hmm.
I just need like a week of rain so that I'm forced to stay inside and do it.
Gotcha. Well, let's see here. So I'll jump in here. So the first thing I had on my list was the trophy. I did finish the trophy. Thank you. I had to give it several more coats, and it's one of those things I had to learn with the airbrush. Like, so, nope, that's not what I want to do here. No, there we go. So, like, I had to figure out, in particular with this gold paint, in order to get it to look fairly uniform without it wanting to drip, I had to paint far enough away, and it was just like very, very light, just very, very quick, back and forth. And I know I didn't do that the first time. I know I was too heavy-handed with it, and that's why it dripped. I did get a clear coat on it. I probably could stand to put a couple more on there, but I think as these finally dry, it'll be completely fine. Because every so often it feels like if you're holding onto it for a while in your hand, it feels a little tacky. But otherwise, it's fine. So I did finally get the pool open. I had talked about in the last episode how that was a big thing we were working on. We've had so much rain, but we did finally get the pool open and running and everything. And I've been swimming in it once before the high temperature showed up, and it was Joseph and I were a little on the chilly side. But the boys were fine, and Lainey and Christy were fine. Although Lainey was just like, I'm freezing, my what's off. But now that the pool's up and running, like it's back to the usual. Oh, we got to vacuum out a little bit and put the chemical in, good to go. I had down that I was going to try to work on Baby Yoda or work on the 3D printed toy. Neither of those happened, and I'll get to that in a second. Actually, let me go ahead and hit that before I do anything else. So, since we last talked, I work in a school district, in a public school district, and we normally have never had like an online, we don't do online schooling or whatever. And of course, COVID shut everything down. We literally handed out over 1,000 laptops. And since I talked to y'all last, we have had to try to get as many of those back as we can. And I think we're down to 40 or so, somewhere around there. So not bad.
That's amazing.
Good.
Yeah, but and a lot of that I credit to the assistant principal who's kind of in charge of this. Like she was on the ball. She was constantly sending out notifications and stuff. So I spent the majority of my time doing that, and it was literally from the time I got there in the morning to the time I left, and yeah, like by the time I got home and ate dinner and we've had baseball going on. I didn't feel like doing anything at night. I was like, nope, I'm just going to sit down and watch some TV with the wife. So, yeah, not a lot of creative stuff got done during that time period. So, we can go on to look at some of the other things I did manage to get done. Spreadsheet update. Oh my God. I'll bring that up here in a second. I've started working on the floors. We've a couple years ago, we put down a floating vinyl floor. And you're supposed to leave a little bit of distance around so that it can move or whatever. We had a place in the kitchen near the dining table where we had an issue where like it had kind of buckled up and the chairs going back and forth over it had kind of ripped it up. Well, I got that taken care of, and at first I thought it was a situation where, oh, I must not have left any wiggle room or whatever. That wasn't the case, because whenever I pulled up the quarter round, it was fine. I think whenever I put down the quarter round though, I had like nailed it like in, so that instead of just kind of being like this and it was floating above it, it was like actually holding it down so that it couldn't move. So hopefully I've corrected that. There's a couple more places in the house. There was one other place I pulled up the quarter round, just kind of tapped the boards in because they were starting to make a gap between it and the wall, and I've put in some shims just so that they won't, they can still expand the other way, but at least they'll be expanding into the wall and not away from it. There's a couple more places I need to hit that's kind of like that. Hopefully I'm going to work on that maybe tomorrow. We'll see. Got completely sidetracked with the side quest. So going along with all the rain that we've had, I've known my gutters have been pretty bad and I need to clean them out. Well, I finally was just like, you know what? I'll just take a little time, quotation marks, a little time, and I will try to clean out the gutter. And it took me like almost an entire day. And I still have more work I need to do. I still need to get up there now that they've completely dried out and I've gotten the majority of the crap out of them. I need to take like my power washer and go up there and completely clean them out. And then I found they have advertisements down here for it. It's basically like a metal grid, or that you can put over a screen, to help keep anything going in there and keeps them nice and clean. That's like $5 for 3 feet, and I found a plastic version that's half of that, and I was just like, this is still going to cost me a good amount of money, but I can handle this. So I started working on part of that, and I'm going to have to go back up there and finish that up, like I said, when I do that. But for the most part, at least my gutters are working better. And like I said, I don't know why. I'm such an idiot about that. I was just like, oh, this shouldn't take too long. Right.
Too bad you couldn't find like a conveyor belt where you could like 3D print.
Well, they've made like, I think the company that iRobot makes something that's supposed to be like a little, it's got like tractor treads, like tank treads on it, and it's supposed to help clean out. And I'm like, I don't even know if that thing can get through this crap that was on here. Like it was pretty bad. But got it cleaned out. So and then like I said, baseball and the end of the year have just kind of really kept me busy. But spreadsheet stuff. So a couple episodes ago, I had talked about how I had added to my spreadsheet and I had the side thing, and where I was trying to kind of keep track of how much I've made or whatever. And I took that information away, and it's been much better. Like I felt better about it. But the other day, I don't know what it was, I had an epiphany. And so, like, whenever I make one of these matrices, these large matrices, I always try to, every so often, I probably should do it more often, but like every 6 months, I'll just go, okay, let me just see where I'm at here. Because, the prices of stuff keep going up. Like, I was telling Cyrus, I had what we refer to as our Geeks Weekend this last weekend. I was telling Cyrus we were talking about the chip shortages for trucks and video game systems and everything else. And he was telling me, he's like, yeah, he said, the PlayStation's really having a bad time of it right now because they can't get any of the chips, and the other chip that they're looking at, like, doesn't quite work yet. So they're still trying to figure that stuff out. And anyway, I was like, yeah, the LEDs that I use for the Matrix, I haven't even been able to buy them off of Amazon. The last time I bought them, I had to buy them directly from the company, and I had to buy enough of them that the shipping kind of evened out to what I was paying with, zero shipping. So I'm like, yeah, it's hitting even me. So, trying to figure out with these increases, how much do I need to increase the prices of some of the stuff I sell, blah, blah, blah. And I told Ray the other day, I messaged him, I was like, your friend is an idiot. I figured out that on $110 Matrix that I actually make about $60, $65 on it, which I'm just like, that's not too bad, but that's a lot of work that goes into it. And then I was like, so I'm going to raise the price on it $10. That means $75 per Matrix. I think that's worth the amount of time I have to put into it, printing and, putting them together and mailing them and all that stuff. And so when I would go into my spreadsheet, that's what I would put in. Sold a Matrix, put all the information in, $75. And then I thought about it. I don't know what it was. Something hit me as an epiphany. I was like, you know what? I'm accounting for all of this stuff in my spreadsheet, but I'm also accounting for whenever I go to Amazon and I spend $40 on filament. I've already accounted for that, but I'm putting it in there too. And every time I buy LEDs, I account for it. And every time I do this, I account for it. And I was just like, am I seriously like double? Oh my God, I'm double accounting for this. So I went back and started changing my spreadsheet. And I was like, I'm making better money at this than I thought. So I feel better about it now. Like, I was literally to the point I was like, I don't know how much longer I'm going to do this. I don't know if it's worth my time. And now I'm like, oh no, this is worth my time. So.
Oh, that's good.
Yes, it's
more.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, the other way I could have done that would be I could just go in there and say, okay, well, I make $65 on that, and however much I make on the other things, and just not account for every time I buy the stuff. But I'm just like, no, I think I like this better because I can kind of see the fluctuation, how much I'm spending. If I look back last month, I'm like, oh, I spent $40 on 2 rolls of filament, and this month I'm spending $45. I need to start looking into stuff. So anyway, so yeah, that's a thing that happened to me. I was just like, how? Oh my God, I'm an idiot. How did I not see this? So anyway, we don't really have a main topic for tonight. I was just thinking, since you've been working on house stuff, and like I said, I've kind of been doing some stuff around the house. In fact, today I was out running around doing some chores and stuff, and I stopped by Lowe's, and we've got these 6 fixtures that I want to change out. There's 2 in these little small hallways, and the rest of them are in the bedrooms. And like the bedroom lights I'm sorry, not the bedrooms, the closets. The closet lights are literally just, it's like the simplest thing you can get. It's like the white porcelain or whatever that's screwed up into the ceiling, and it's a bulb and like this metal cage that goes around it. I mean, it's the most utilitarian thing ever. And I want to put like an eyeball light in there instead, like make it look more modern. And I was at the store and I was looking around and I was just like, you know what, man, these what do they call them? Not caseless, or oh geez, for because when you do like a socket light like that, it's got a case that goes up into the thing. The newer LED versions are like literally like that thick, and you just kind of cut the hole and you slide it up in there, and the little things go down, and that's it. You don't have to worry about anything because they put off like 0 heat, so you don't have to worry about them. And I'm just like, do what?
Like a pot light?
Kind of, yes, but because it's LED, it doesn't have to have that large case up inside it to distribute the heat and everything. So, not Not that you'd have to have it anyway, because I've got LEDs in the ones that I've got now. So, I mean, they basically put off no heat either. But it's one of those things that's like, man, it would be much easier to do this, but they look a little different than what I have now. And I'm like, I'm not making this choice without my wife. So I'm going to put this on.
Good call.
Yeah. So we're like, we're trying to make sure we take some time off during the summer, but it's funny, like, while we're doing this, we're trying to take time off of the summer and just kind of relax. The way that we relax has recently been us sitting down to watch home improvement shows, and that's our jam right now. So the one in particular we're watching right now is one called Hometown, which is based in Mississippi, I think, Alabama, maybe somewhere in the South. And it's this couple that are literally trying to rejuvenate their hometown. People will move in or are moving around or whatever, and they find these older houses, and the people will buy them and they fix them up, and turns out really nice or whatever. The thing that Christy and I really like about the show is, with the exception of this one episode we watched the other night, it's actually like human level budgets. So like they've literally had someone come in and were like, I'd like to buy a house and have it redone and my max budget is $100,000. And they did it, and it's just like, wow, that's awesome. So it's not like some of these other shows. It's like, oh yeah, my budget's $1.5 billion. So.
And that's just for the garage.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, speaking of home improvement shows, Logan and I started watching this British show called Help My House is Falling Down. And it's a little bit of an older show. I think it's from the 2000s, like 2010, 2011.
Hilarious. I need to say this though. This show stresses me out.
Oh yeah, he can't watch it. Partly because we do own a Century home, and a lot of these because like England is as old as the fucking hills, so a lot of these structures are centuries old. Mm-hmm. So it makes him nervous to watch what has been done.
It's not nervous on my part. I would just be like, the fucking work that I would have to do to fix that. Oh my! Or the other part is, those motherfuckers did that to fix it. What?
Yeah.
So we've been learning a lot. So I started watching it, and it's a British television show, and it's these people who have bought these century-old and older homes with the whole idyllic charm. They're beautiful, they're gorgeous, we want to restore them. One couple, it was actually an inherited farm. Their family had been there for 4 generations, and the house itself was 400 years old. And one of the parts of the house was actually 700 years old. So...
Wow.
So it's amazing this because like in North America, we think of an old house. They're like, oh, that's cute. This thing is like 400 years old.
Yeah,
exactly.
Still habitable.
Yeah.
So I've been watching that, and then Logan got in on it with me there's only 2 seasons. But I like to watch it because it's fascinating why they buy these houses, what they choose to do, and it's actually real life budgets, which is why I like the British versions better, because they're like actual real budgets. It's not
it's real people with real stories.
Stories. Like you're telling me this is going to cost £10,000. I literally don't have that, so I don't know what I'm trying to do. But it's these houses that are actually like subsiding, so they're starting to fall apart from each other. Brick walls are bowing. Roofs are being plied apart.
My favorite was I didn't realize that the cement went back that far.
Oh, okay. So there's this one house that they bought, and it was this charming house. And what they thought behind this plaster render, which is a popular thing that they used to do in the 50s and 60s, was put this like pebble kind of stucco-y stuff over top of perfectly good brick. I don't know why they did. So they thought, okay, underneath this stuff is going to be brick. No. Victorian concrete, which I didn't know was a thing.
I didn't know it was a thing either.
Neither did I. So their house is literally falling, like chunks of this Victorian concrete, which is just clay and then sand and then just shit to hold it all together. So there's bits of iron, there's glass, there's some rocks, there's chunks of brick.
Is there anything that they could use as filler?
As anything together, that's what they chucked in there. And it got wet.
So in this particular case, rain had gotten into the wall which had made the iron turn to rust, which allowed more water come in.
Yeah.
So it's literally crumbling now apart. They did a core sample. On majority of the house was okay. It was this one side of the wall. As they're pulling the core sample out, it crumbles in their hands. Like,
and these people are living in this house.
Oh my God.
The majority of these people are living in these houses. A lot of them have damp. A lot of them have black mold. Their kids are getting sick. But they're like, we bought this house, and then literally 6 months later, shit just started falling apart. And it kind of reminded me of our house. In that when we first bought this, I never blame my cousin because my cousin only lived here for 8 months, and the majority of that she was basically living with her boyfriend. So they had just gotten together when she purchased this house. She wasn't really here, and she wasn't here long enough to do anything to the house except for paint some walls. So it was the people before her that she bought the house off of,
who were here for like 5 years.
5 years, and then the couple before that who raised their family were here for 40 years. So we blame a lot of the shit that's happened that we found recently on those two couples.
I curse them a lot.
We say fucking here. Yeah. Because the basement has not flooded, but we had a leak. I think we
fixed
it out.
We think it was the siding that was causing the leak because that was the first thing that we had to replace on this house was the siding.
Yeah.
So pretty sure that's
the condensate pump on the furnace broke, so our basement flooded twice. Not a lot of flooding, but enough that you're like, oh no.
Enough to worry about it twice.
Yeah, and then
the very first thing that went wrong in the house was the sink backed up.
Oh yeah, the sink backed up, so we had to get the emergency plumber.
I was like, what is going? So I was worried that tree roots were in like our main line on the way out.
Yeah.
I was checking things and like so we had to shut down the water and like nobody could use the washrooms and like it was all. So then I confirmed, okay, no, it's just the kitchen area, and we can use the one bathroom, and that's okay, but don't use the main line because I'm not sure about this area. And anyway, we narrowed it down. It was just the kitchen line, and it was one section of the kitchen line, and it was iron pipe still, essentially. And so thankfully the guy came out. He was fantastic.
Yeah, he was awesome.
It was an emergency one that he came out. Within, I'd say, 2 hours,
less than that,
he was out here, and within an hour it was fixed. He cut the part out, put a new piece in, and it was relatively good price as well. Like it was.
But it's things like that when you have a century-old home where you start, like we have cracks, but they're very old cracks, and they're from settling. But you watch these people are like, yeah, that happened overnight, and they're cracks that are like this thick. You can stick it. And so, like,
in concrete.
And concrete, brick and concrete just pulling away from each other. Bad electrical. There was one that was, they had such bad damp in their house that all the electrical sockets on the ground floor went. So they had decided.
They had two that were working.
They had
my God.
Yeah.
So they had
two working outlets.
A series of like snaked electrical extension cords coming from upstairs so they could run things that were downstairs.
Right. Oh my God.
They were living like that. And then the last one that I watched, they actually had a fire because of the damp. It actually did spark, and they did have a fire because of how damp the house was. And so it's just one of those things where you're like, you try your best, you have a vision, you're really hopeful, and then all of a sudden your house decides to tell you to fuck you, and you're like, what the hell happened? And you don't realize, and a lot of these families and stuff, they don't realize, one, that you can't just close the door and hope it goes away, which is what some of them have done. They've just living in parts of their house so that they don't have to deal with it. That if they just fixed it when that came up, it wouldn't have gotten that bad. And that you have to get proper, not so much surveys, but you have to be realistic when you buy a house. It can't just be because, we just need some paint. Your house is 500 years old. It might need more than just paint. It's old.
Pay the few $100 to get an engineer out and take a look at shit. Like it's.
And the worm in the wood rot. Like there was
dry rot and
stuff, and these woodworms or whatever. So they pulled this timber frame out, and it just turned to dust.
Mm-hmm.
It's supporting floor joist, and there's children's rooms above this floor joist. And like, they're not, they couldn't jump up and down on their bed. They couldn't do anything because the furniture was moving or the floor.
They would have come through the floor.
I love watching the show.
Oh, it stresses me out.
You can't.
Oh yeah, they stress me out too. So like I said, going back to the show that we're watching, one of the other things that I also really like about it is as they're going back and redoing these houses, like they'll be like, okay, well, we're gonna go in, we're gonna rip out all of the cabinets in the kitchen or whatever. The husband who is, also does, the work, part of the work and demolition and everything. He's also has his own woodworking shop, and he oftentimes will take wood he finds in the house and we'll take it and make it into something. So like, he'll be like, he's like, what do you think of this dresser or whatever? And they're like, oh, that's beautiful. He goes, yeah, that was the doors that we took out of the house that I stripped down and ripped and turned into something else. And he's a great woodworker. So that part fascinates me as well. But I know what you're talking about, because time after time they'll walk into a house and it's like, oh look, yeah, there's this ugly shag carpet. It's been here forever, whatever. Crossing our fingers, it's wood floor, and about 70-80% of the time, rip it up. Oh look, wood floor. And the guy that they have, who's their wood floor expert, he's I don't know, he's just a really laid back, cheery guy, and he's just like, oh yeah, there's some rot over there and stuff. We'll get that out. We'll rip that out. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. And it is, like, it always ends up looking beautiful. But yeah, that's always been my thing is, I'm like, I understand these older houses and they look beautiful and there's probably some just fantastic woodwork and stuff in there. But that would be my thing, would be like, okay, so we want to make a change, kind of a major change. Maybe we're going to move a wall or something like that. And I'm just like, my luck is going to be, no, the fucking floor joists are going to be all gone or whatever. And they do find that. They're just like, oh yeah, like, they'll start taking down, like, it might be like a drop ceiling or whatever, and they'll take it down. And they're just like, yeah, so the 2x6 that's going across here, it's supposed to be holding everything up, ends here, and they just took like a couple of 2x4s and nailed it to it or whatever and called it a day. And it's like, that is not structurally safe even the slightest. Yeah. But whereas like, and I even brought this up to Christy the other day, whereas like watching Property Brothers or whatever, they're like, oh yeah, we're going to take out this wall or whatever and it'll be all clean or whatever. And they're like, well, we can't do that because if we take down this wall, it's load bearing, it's going to be a bunch of problems. It's like, well, all right, well, now we have to install a beam or whatever, and that's going to cost several $1,000s. And, listen, we could do it this way, and it'll cost a couple $100s, and you may just have a little bit of a division, or we can do this, it's going to cost a couple thousand. No, do that. I absolutely don't want anything like that. And this couple's just like, all right, we got to put a beam in, so we'll just kind of have a slight division. All right, keep moving. And it's just like, of course, like a normal person would be like, me would be like, no, fine, as long as the beam looks okay, it's good.
Yeah. So, well, and that's where you start comparing. Like, so on the show, she does. So it's a woman named Sarah Beanie who hosts it. She's awesome because in some of the episodes, I guess the way they film or whatever, she's very pregnant. This woman is on construction sites and she's bombing up and down the stairs and she's just like super excited. She's got this massive belly, and she's also an older mom too. So I think when she had her last baby, she was like in her late 30s or something, and you're tired at that point. But she has a team of experts that come in as surveyors and like pest control people, and like she's a structural engineer and her gutter drain person, because the gutters and drains and everything in England are a lot different than here in North America, right? Because a lot of them are so old that it's a very different system. One of them was they were in a coal mining town, and actually this person was starting to fall away, so they were actually worried that it was over an abandoned mine shaft. And because what had happened in the town is that there would be a house there one day, and then the next day it collapsed into a mine shaft. And there was actually,
oh my God,
where 3 houses had done that, and 5 people died. So but they got like the thermal engineering radar crap and thankfully it wasn't on a abandoned mine shaft, but they just used to just abandon them when they were done using them and just collapse. Like, that's really dangerous. But I guess you don't have any forethought anyway. She does say this could cost, like, and especially roofs, because they don't use shingles, they use slate tiles. So that's a whole different structural thing too. So she says that, you know, the big fix could cost you 10,000 pounds or 20,000 pounds or whatever it is. Or what we could do is, if you're willing to do this work, we could do this ourselves, meaning I'll help you and walk you through this, because we've already had the structural engineer walk through. He's already told us what's wrong and what's happening and everything like that. Yep. So we could do this fix, and it'll only cost you a couple $100 or 1,000 pounds, yep. And it's good. So you have the choice what you want to do with it. And more often than not, they pick the cheaper choice, which is a lot. It's not as scary as they initially thought, which is also what she's trying to tell them. Like, listen, if you had just gotten this looked at right away, it wouldn't have been this bad. And it's not as scary. So it's okay. And now it's fine. So, and you're good for like the rest of the, however long you live here. But yeah, she brings them to this like state of the art, England's like premier technology for house building center or whatever in England. And she like does mock-up stuff when people are like, yeah, but do we really need to do that? And she will like mock it up. And she shows them like, this is your house. This is what's in the state now. If it stays this way and you do nothing, this is what's going to keep happening.
So the model, she shows how the model will actually fall apart.
Fall apart. Nice. Yeah. And
how the roof is actually pulling the walls away.
Yeah, from the house and eventually collapsing. So she shows them. And then she shows them the fixed version. So if you did this, this is what happens. And so, it's very interesting, because some people do need to be talked into it. Some people are like, no, it's fine. We can live with it. It's not that bad. Or it's just too much money. We'll just live with it for now. And she's like, you actually can't, because your house is going to fall down if you do.
Yeah. Won't have a house, and you'll be lucky to be alive if it doesn't fall down.
Yeah. So, but I do like home improvement shows. I do, because it's fun, and I've been watching a lot of designers on YouTube with trends and stuff. Not that I'm a trendy person at all, but I've gotten really into decorating this house and like creating like a whole aesthetic with this house that I've never done before. So I kind of want to do it in a way that's not right, but like is cohesive, and I pull it off and stuff. So I'm watching a lot of those, and they do a lot of trends that they hate, which I love. They're like, why do people do this? The latest one that I saw, it was people are taking mirrors and things like that and putting spray foam around them like a frame. Apparently it's big on TikTok. Logan's looking at me weird. So they spray this expandable spray foam all the way around like a mirror frame, and they'll put stuff in it to like make it glow, like little glow in the dark bits, so it glows in the dark when the lights are off, or they'll paint it and stuff. They've also, so that's weird. And then
it's spray foam. It looks like shit.
But so that's a trend apparently. And the other trend is tiling everything, like tiling side tables. So having like those little square 1x1 tiles, tiling an end table with that. Oh yeah, I did not know that was a popular thing.
See, the only thing I can think of using the spray foam for is I'm following this guy. I think his YouTube channel is Hollywood Haunter. Him and his wife. It's mainly him, but the fact she goes along with it is just crazy. I know I posted a video of it. They have a son, and they built a Ghostbusters firehouse themed playhouse for their son. And it is awesome. It is huge. It is ginormous. Well, the thing he's working on right now is his son is interested in He-Man. So he is making basically a headboard for their kid's bed that looks like Castle Grayskull.
Oh.
And like literally he's showing how, I don't know where he's getting it. He keeps saying they managed to get a hold of these big sheets of foam, but he's like carving down this foam or whatever, and he's taking the expanding foam because, whenever you can make it look like rocks and stuff. So when you were saying that, I was like, well, are they spraying it on the edge of these things to make it, and then shaping it to where it looks like a rock or something around it?
It looks like these puffy, no, it looks like
it's spray foam.
It's spray foam, and then they've painted it. It's kind of like this puffy cloud thing I think they're going for. And then there's, the tiled end tables, and then mirrors everywhere, apparently, really big. Oh, and acrylic furniture's coming back, apparently. The thing is happening.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm watching all these things, and I'm like, oh, wow. No. Also, when you watch the home improvement shows, and when they don't have, because, some of those times you can tell that a stager's been in there.
Oh, yeah.
Properly, and you're like, oh yeah, then that's exactly how it looks after the production leaves, and all of that shit goes with them. So the ones that I'm watching, it's this woman, oh bless her, she did her own thing. Hope she never sells her house because I don't know who would buy it. She has a black tile kitchen flooring that has bright lavender purple walls. And
wait, like the whole floor is just black?
The whole floor is this black tile, big black, like 2 by 2, 2 foot by 2 foot black. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Tile, just shiny. They have a dog.
Please tell me it's a white-haired dog.
No, it's a Dalmatian.
Oh my God.
So white hair.
Yeah, massive dog. And then off of that, they have their kind of their family room. It's like a big great room. And in the middle of that is a stripper pole.
All right, sure, why not?
With skull wallpaper on the walls.
Skull wallpaper.
Yes, and it's done sort of like sugar skulls. Anyways, and the kitchen's just this erroneous color of purple. It's really bright and lavender. It's just but it's black, white, and purple. The whole main floor. I was like, wow, that's a choice. And you have no put on that. And wow, okay. And I've liked nothing that anybody's done in any of that.
The other thing that I have really come to the conclusion of is money does not buy you taste.
No, it doesn't. One of the girls that I watch on YouTube, her name's Paige, and she does, those Architecture Digest celebrity home tours?
Yes.
So she reviews them because she's an interior designer. So she did the Real Housewives, like a couple of them, and she's like, what? She's like, why? Why would you put that in your house? Like, especially in New Jersey, there's like this big thing of having these mansions with the double staircase that go out, that go up and out, and just the grandeur thing of. She's like, this isn't an Italian design. I mean, it is for New Jersey, but this is like huge and grand, and like, why would you put? It's just like they have all this money. They're millionaires, but their house looks like. The Jersey Shore threw up all over it.
Ugh. See, Christy and I were having a discussion the other night. The woodworking guy did it's the first time he's ever done a what's it called, a live edge table. And I was just telling Christy, I was like, I said, I don't know how you feel about this. I said, but I watch these woodworkers on YouTube and stuff, and sometimes they'll do it, and they'll do it where they pour basically what looks like kind of a river in between it. And I'm like, I'm fascinated by that. I really kind of like it. I just don't know if I would own it. And she's like, I'm the same way. She goes, maybe for like a small table, not like not like the coffee table. I'm like, yeah, maybe that's it. Like but it fascinates me to watch these people do this stuff. And it's just, yeah, I completely understand. So
I know which one you're talking. Like I've looked at it as well. There's a woman that I follow. I think it's Instagram. What she does is she pours the acrylic or whatever on one side, and then makes it looks like waves coming in on a beach.
I've seen that done too. Yeah,
it looks beautiful. But again, do I want to deal cards on that? Like, do I want to have breakfast on that all the time? Like, it's beautiful. I just don't know if I want to look at it all the time.
Well,
if it's a table, maybe if it's a nightstand or if it's a table sitting in the corner or whatever, yeah, absolutely. But like you said, for being the main focus all the time, it's like that's a lot.
Well, it's a lot. And then the other thing, okay, I want to change the wall color. Oh, I got to change the color of my table now too.
That's the other thing about being like following trends like that, like because some things are timeless, some things will always be timeless, right? But then you get these very weird timestamp specific trends that we can look at the 80s for things like that, and the early 2000s for things like that too, right? And 70s. So
thank you, orange.
No, thank you.
So you want to have things that feel, that you're sort of with it. You're not old or anything.
Yeah.
Still current, but some of them are just like, I don't get it. I don't understand why that. And it does date the space. So then so it's nice for about 3 to 5 years, and then you're finding yourself, well, I loved this before, but now I want to sort of, and this is coming from a place of privilege that we do have enough money that we can decide to paint a room or change it up. But I'm not talking about like a full revamp. But you get tired of a piece and you want to bring something in. So it's one of those things where you're picking and choosing your taste, but your taste in a timeless way, right? So that you get tired of it and you're only adding to your space, not being like, ugh, that was a very, very trendy purchase, like a spray foam mirror. I could see a teenager wanting to do that and like expressing themselves and like doing something creative that way. But like as a nearly 40-year-old woman, I do not see the appeal to spray foam.
See, like I said, the only thing I could see is if you're going to be like, okay, well, we're going to do the bathroom and like ocean stuff or whatever, and to make it look like it's rocks all the way around it, maybe, but even then it's like this belongs in like a seafood restaurant and not my bathroom.
Yes. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, there's a thing about taking the theme way too far. Too.
I love my mother.
Oh, your mom. Oh, bless her.
Talk about themes.
Oh,
she loves the beach theme.
She loves the beach. She doesn't like to go swimming. She just loves being at the beach.
To the point of she was collecting shells, and then she would like glue a bunch of stuff. So she'd use the hot glue gun in order to make it look like it's beached, and then she
hot glue guns shells to a picture.
Yeah.
Stuck it in her bathroom.
Yeah. And then I love her dearly, and she really loves this piece of art, and I call it art because that's
what she calls it.
That's what she calls it. There's a painting that somebody did for her that she bought, and they incorporated real sticks and stuff in it, and this.
It's real reeds.
It's real reeds, and there's real things that are on it, and I'm like, that's a choice.
She loves it though. Your mom absolutely loves it.
And they tried to make each stick a little bit smaller so it gave it depth. But the problem is it all remains the same width the whole way through. Mm-hmm. So it looks like they're just in a line getting smaller because they didn't shrink the size of it this way, right? So if you're going to take the time and incorporate these into your painting, and I mean, you got to have perspective on it too, and actually, but anyway, it's a choice.
His sister and him and to her credit, his mother does not give a single fuck what anybody thinks. She loves it. It's going up. I don't care what you think. Because his sister, who is an interior designer, and you both make fun of her for her design choices. And she's like, I like it. And then that's the end of the discussion. And it stays there, and she loves it. And that just makes it that much more hilarious with things like that.
It's very mama, and that's okay.
Yes, it is.
And that's fine.
Yes. She that's her shtick. She loves beach themes. She loves things to feel. She loves her house to feel like a calming retreat. And so for her calming retreat is the beach. So that's what she tries to create, but she does it in a very literal sense, where she like loves to have shells and jars of sand.
I was gonna say, if she could do like the sand floor.
Oh my God, and it not like ruin things. Yeah.
Like she would do that.
You remember when they on that Friends episode where they went to that
the beach house had
all
sand
in it?
In all the rooms? Yeah.
If it didn't ruin things, she would do that. She would, and if it wasn't like a total disaster to have sand in your house like that,
totally.
She would. She'd love that. She did let your sister design a lot of her stuff in their new house, like their kitchen and stuff like that, and her chandelier that she's got in her dining room. I don't know who purchased that. It's
like 80 pounds.
It's awful, and it's way too big for the space. Like it's just too gigantic. But she loves it because it reminds her of seashells. And it's like, okay, good. This gigantic chandelier for your.
Glad you like it, Mom.
I'm glad you love it. She's like, look at what it throws up on the ceiling. Like, yes.
And it's staying there and
forever.
staying with them. and somebody else can take it down because I'm not touching an 80-pound light fixture.
Jeez, yeah.
But I just love her confidence in that's what she likes, and so that's what she does, and she doesn't care what anybody else thinks. I appreciate that about her. Yeah, my mom's kind of the same way. She's very big into this farmhouse thing. Like, she's got every single farmhouse kitsch thing, like chicken, eggs, 5 cents, like random, and like farmhouse signs randomly placed everywhere in her in-town prefab mobile home that she lives in, right? Like, there's nothing farmhouse about her home, but she hates negative space too. So every single nook and cranny's got something on it.
Every wall space has got to be covered in something.
Yes.
Yeah.
But she's got a very good eye for space and and where things should go. So it looks nice. It's just a lot of stuff in her house.
It's crammed. Yeah.
It's crammed. I don't think she has any free wall space.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, alrighty then.
Activity, right?
Well, see, and Christy and I are coming at this from, we're hoping to have the majority of the house paid off in the next 4 to 5 years, and looking at building our final home. And so we're also thinking there are some things we want to do around the house. We don't want to do major things since we're not going to be here too much longer. But there are several things that, we're looking at and things that we kind of like, things we might want to do here, but definitely things for the next house even. Like the other night, they redid the bathroom, and Christy's like, "No, stop, go back." And I'm like, "Okay, what am I going back to?" And she's like, "I like that toilet, like the way it's shaped. That seems like that would be much easier to keep clean and everything else." And I'm just like, "Nope, I agree with that. That would be." I'm like, "Well, what about that mirror?" No. I'm like, "All right, well, okay, never mind." So.
When you have different design styles too.
What I will say though is we had a conversation about creativity, and I'll end it on this one. We had a conversation about creativity. She always cursed me because I actually wanted input on a little bit of say as to what the space would look like.
Uh-huh.
And then somebody actually thanked me for sticking to it, because she actually appreciated my opinion and actually enjoyed some of my choices. So that was kind of nice.
Good deal. Yeah, every so often I'll throw out an idea, and if we go with it, and if it works out, I'm like, that was mine. So, anyway, well, let's go ahead and move on to our projects for next time. Ray, you want to go first?
Sure, I'll go first. You know what? I think it's time to at least get some sketches down of what my paintings I want to do. So,
okay.
You do have some time coming up.
I have some time coming up. There's not a lot going around the house. We're done the majority of what we want to do. I only have some baseboards that need to go on and some trim. So once that's on, I'll have some time to kind of get through some paintings and at least drawings of what I want to sketch out and kind of thing. So I'm going to at least have the basics down for a couple of paintings.
Good deal. I'll just jump in real quick. Some small house projects. Honestly, it's like I said, there's a couple more things I need to do with some of the flooring. I want to try to go ahead and finish off the lights. One of the other things that we're looking at doing is slowly but surely start changing out all of the hardware on the doors and stuff. Of course, she's wanting to not only change shape but change color, so that means we also have to change like all of the hinges and stuff. And yeah, the thing we're a little worried about is our cat Lucas. He wants to go outside constantly. He's not an outside cat. Every so often he does get to run outside, but he's not an outside cat. He understands that this is the thing that we touch that allows the door to open. So he will, and he's tall enough, like if he stretches up, he will stretch up and grab onto the door knob. He doesn't understand how to twist it. And I keep telling Christy, I'm like, because she wants to put like handles on. And I'm like, if we do that, we're going to have to make sure we keep that door locked. Because otherwise, he's smart enough, he will figure out how to let himself out.
Yep. And your boys are getting to the age that they may leave the house with, or like come through the door without locking it. So
So, which isn't too bad for most places. It's just like there may be some doors we may have to, like our guest bathroom. I don't even know how we're going to do that. We're going to have to figure that out because the boys will need to be able to get in and out of it. But like the guest bedroom, we don't really let the animals in there, and he wants to constantly get in there as well. And I'm just like, we may just have to lock it. And anytime I go in there, I may just have to, do the whole reach up on top of the thing, get the little thing, and unlock it so I can get inside or whatever. So we'll see. It will be interesting when I do that eventually. But and then the other thing is working on my ecto conversion. I got the roof rails on. I think I'm going to go ahead and, because I've driven a little bit at night here recently, and I don't want the yellowish tinge of the headlights to bother me, but it does. So I may go ahead and just be like, nope, screw it, go ahead and buy the lights. I know I can, putting in the headlights will just be a matter of time. I've done it, technically I've done it twice now, and I can do it the third and final time. But sitting over here on the ground next to me, I have, and they came in last week. I haven't even got to open them yet because I've been so busy with like Geeks Weekend and everything else. Are the strobe lights that go on the top of the Ecto. So I need to get those out of the boxes and just kind of mount them generally on the top of the car so I can see how big of a basket I can get. Because I could kind of measure some stuff out, and I was like, no, this is something I really need to kind of eyeball and see. I don't need to get one that's too big, too small, whatever. So that's kind of the next thing I need to do. I need to get these things out, get them on top of the car just temporarily so I can see how big a basket I can get. Go ahead and order the basket and start getting some of that stuff in, because I think once the ball starts rolling on this, it's going to go pretty quick. So, because it's honestly buying these big sheets of magnetic, big sheets of magnet or whatever, and the vinyl stuff that goes on it and cutting it out, and that kind of takes care of the rest of the outside of the car, and the rest of it's just figuring out how to mount the baskets and the lights and stuff. And I kind of have a goal to get to, and then like maybe a stretch goal. And I don't know if I'll quite get to the stretch goal. I'll share it here. No one listens to this. So I had mentioned to most people when they do an ecto, they have the lights on the front and the back. They have the yellow tubes on each side. And then they have different things on top. There's a thing called the sniffer. It looks kind of like it's got two red things. It goes back and forth on it. There's kind of a radar dish. There's some other things up there. I want to try to keep it low profile so that I can pull into the garage. And one of the things I thought about doing was taking like a really large trash can and basically turning it upside down and chopping the bottom off and putting that on top of there with a bunch of lights, and I'd have to figure it out with an Arduino and make it so that it can be triggered with an IR sensor. In the Ghostbusters video game, there are levels where you're walking through downtown New York, and they've installed what they call the Super Slammer, and it's basically a giant ghost trap on the top of the Ecto. And so you go around, you're catching the ghost, and then you literally slam it down, and whenever you do, it lights up, and so that you've got the ghost. And I've thought about it, and no one else has done this that I know of. And how fantastic would it be to do something like that and have it triggered with just like a little IR thing, so I could give myself and whoever else is walking around the Ecto in a parade the ability to act like we're firing, and then as we pull down, hit that little trigger and have it light up. It would be fantastic. And I think I can do it. I think that's not beyond my programming capabilities. So we shall see.
You've also done the smoke that smells like marshmallows. Like you
can
do it,
man.
It,
dude.
You can do it. So yeah, there's some things I just need to get. So like I said, hopefully maybe not this week. I'm hoping next week maybe I can start getting some stuff together and have some pictures to share because like I said, it's gonna be fun. So I'm getting excited. I get to start going out and doing stuff again.
Yeah.
So, Chris, what do you want to work on for next time?
I'm not going to mention anything about my Etsy store because I have no idea. But I would like to get my blanket that I got started done and get that new one that I had the pattern for. I want to get that done. And I want to start sort of decorating the house a little bit, start putting up pictures and sort of change out that kind of stuff. I want to start doing that. Because now I can go to the thrift store, now I can go to places and
Get
actually
picture frames.
Get picture frames and actually do stuff like that now that we're in phase 1.
Phase 1 of being open again.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's what I would like to have done by next month.
Good deal. All right, well, that is our show, ladies and gentlemen. If you would, please give us a 5-star rating on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Music, wherever it is you listen to the show. I'll change it up a little bit. If you are listening to this show, recommend it to someone else. Like, we do have an audience, but we have a very small audience for this show. And it would be nice if we, kind of grew that a little bit. So if you know someone that you think would enjoy the show, definitely recommend it to someone else. So, you can always find us at epicallygeeky.com, where you can find all of our shows, including the Epically Geeky Show, Marginally Geeky Show, this show, and Sustainably Geeky. And then you can follow us on social media at Epically Geeky as well. Where can we find you online, Ray?
The Reluctant Yeti on Instagram, and I've really stayed away from Twitter because it's become even more of a cesspool.
Yep. I don't. Yeah. Chris, where can we find you online?
You can find me here and Marginally Geeky and Epically Geeky and Sustainably Geeky. And we just did a show with a lovely young lady who works in Hawaii with coral research and ocean research. So that is up now, I believe.
Yep.
And you can find me on Instagram at Rose and Hummingbird.
And as always, you can follow my individual wacky adventure online at Optimus Gene on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. For everyone on the site, have a good night.